In X-Men Dark Phoenix, the X-Men are chugging along being mutant superheroes, helping humanity when they can, trying to build up those human-mutant relations. And one day, Jean Grey, the telepathic and telekinetic mutant, is imbued with this strange force from space that starts giving her all these strange powers, and then at the same time she finds out a secret from her past while this force is in her head and messing with her body and causes her to start acting out. And it's the Phoenix Force, and we all know what happens, right? The Phoenix Force, is too much for her to handle, has all this power, causes her to do all this weird, horrible stuff, and the X-Men are trying to deal with that, get the real Jean back. And in the meantime, there are these other aliens who, want to use the Phoenix Force they're these aliens, not other aliens, just the aliens, who want to, use the Phoenix Force, the energy inside of Jean for their own purposes, led by Jessica Chastain playing, I don't remember what her character's name is, she was just like nefarious alien lady. The X-Men get caught up in the middle of all this alien Phoenix Force drama while Jean has to fight to be herself and not let this evil force take over her. Now, I'm sure by the time you watch this video, you've seen the reviews and, the Rotten Tomatoes score, and this movie's just getting tanked, trashed. After having seen Dark Phoenix, I think it's an okay movie, but the problem isn't that I think that the movie's bad. It's that watching this movie, if you're someone who's read the classic X-Men comic books and the original Dark Phoenix story line, the sad thing is that what this movie could have been, right? The Dark Phoenix storyline in the comics is this epic cosmic space drama, one of the most epic X-Men stories of all time. Some would say the epic, but at least it's a 1970s storyline, and 1970s styles writing in comics might not seem that epic to people today. But historically, the Dark Phoenix saga is a huge X-Men milestone, and it involves galaxies and planets and aliens and all that kind of stuff. And this movie feels criminally small scale. Like what I just described was a larger than life epic, space opera kind of thing. And in the comics, it took place over, several, I think issues or years actually. But they did it in one movie, and it takes place mostly on the ground, even though it has aliens and there's space in part of it. This movie just feels like it's supposed to be the Dark Phoenix saga, if done correctly, should be something like Avengers Infinity War Endgame in its scope, right? But this movie isn't like that in scope. It's very, very small scale and self-contained. So, that is what my biggest issue with the movie is. I don't think it's bad. I mean, it's good for what they did with it, but, it could have, it's okay, but, it could have been so much more. I think a lot of the critics are, being a lot harder on this movie than, you would think that the way that they're talking about it, that it's the worst thing you've ever seen, you would hurt yourself watching it, and I don't think the movie is like that at all. I think it's okay. It's just not necessarily an appropriate Dark Phoenix saga story. Now, that said, I thought all the actors were good. And, there's a lot of drama in this movie, and I love seeing the drama. That's true to the X-Men. If you read X-Men comic books, especially the old ones, the X-Men were all about the drama and the infighting. But in this movie, in order to make the drama, it was kind of contrived in the sense they have certain characters behaving in certain ways that seem out of character to how they would really behave in the comics, just to push the storyline in a more tense, dramatic direction. And characters who really exemplify this are Professor Xavier, Beast, and Jean. But the actors are all good. James McAvoy, Sophie Turner, and Nicholas Hoult. They do fine in their performances, but I just feel like, people are doing things and jumping to conclusions. And I think that these characters, if properly written, would be thinking more and wouldn't be doing certain things that they do in this movie to make the plot go the way it's supposed to go. The other big star, one of the other big stars in the movie is Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. Now, Mystique, in my opinion, has been a problem for the X-Men franchise for a while because the way she's written, it's not Mystique. It's she's too much of a goody-goody, and they're making her too much of a hero. And because Jennifer Lawrence is a big star, and Hollywood has to serve big stars, and they've made Mystique a lot of times the center of X-Men storylines in the movies, where in the comics, Mystique is not the center of the X-Men universe, really that much at all. And in this movie, she is, perfect, or, you know, well-meaning Mystique. And watching the movie, I was like, you know, I read enough X-Men comic books to know that this is basically just them servicing Jennifer Lawrence's ego rather than writing Mystique the way she should properly be written. That's a problem I had. But I don't know what they could have done because, you know, the Hollywood system is like, we got to make the stars happy. You know, the celebrities happy in our movies, and so they have to make Jennifer Lawrence happy. I don't know why Jennifer Lawrence doesn't want to play Mystique the way Mystique should actually be played, but that's her decision, and they got to make their big star happy. So, you know, but all in all, I think that Dark Phoenix, it's well acted. I think that it's well written and directed for a small scale action movie. The problem is, this is a storyline that's supposed to be a huge space epic that is so big it shouldn't be only told in one movie. And so I think that trying to tell the Dark Phoenix saga in basically one movie with, you know, not as many of the players that were in the comics and, you know, not as jaw-droppingly like over the top as it was in the comics is what's harmed this movie. And I also think a lot of critics should just want to hurry and dogpile on this movie to, you know, get ready for Marvel to take it. I think that's one of the reasons too. I think the critics are being harsher on this movie. It's definitely not perfect, but I think they just really want to help kill this movie and kill the Fox X-Men quickly, just so Marvel and Disney can hurry up to justify Marvel and Disney taking over. You know, give it back to Marvel. I don't think this movie is that bad as people are making it out to be, but, you know, the critics like to service Disney and Marvel, and I think that they're helping, you know, Dark Phoenix die a much quicker death than I think it would take if there wasn't so much Marvel and Disney bias going on. That's just me. I might get in trouble for saying that, but that's kind of how I feel. But, you know, you should watch Dark Phoenix and see what you think. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.